Every meal has its time to shine, and over the years, some classic lunches have quietly stepped out of the limelight. From the no-fuss Spam sandwiches of World War II to the unique taste of Ham and Banana Hollandaise, these dishes were once the heroes of lunchtime across America. Today, we're looking back at 15 classic lunches that used to bring us together around the table, even if some of them aren't on our plates anymore. Number 1. Spam sandwiches. In 1937, when Hormel Foods introduced Spam, no one guessed it would have become a wartime hero. With its super long shelf life and easy prep, it was perfect during World War II, quickly finding its way into the hands of hungry soldiers and civilians. People made do with what they had, often just adding a smear of mustard or mayo to make a Spam sandwich. But it was in Hawaii where Spam truly found its fame. It transformed from a simple sandwich filler to a star of Spam musubi, a beloved local snack that wraps the meat with rice and seaweed. It's a classic example of making the best out of what's available. While the rest of the world might have moved on from Spam sandwiches, preferring fresher, less processed options, in Hawaii, Spam still reigns. Number 2. Salisbury steak. Salisbury steak transformed humble ground beef into a dish with a touch of elegance. An American classic named after Dr. James Salisbury, who in the late 19th century promoted a meat-centric diet for health. This dish, basically seasoned ground beef mixed with onions and breadcrumbs, formed into an oval steak shape and smothered in a rich, savory gravy. Favored in diners and school cafeterias for decades, Salisbury steak was often paired with mashed potatoes and green beans, providing a filling and affordable meal. As dining preferences shifted towards lighter and more diverse cuisines, Salisbury steak began to fade from everyday menus, now remembered mostly for its nostalgic comfort rather than as a daily dining option. Number 3. Sloppy Joes. The sandwich that could probably win an award for the most likely to ruin a white shirt. Born in Sioux City, Iowa in the 1930s, a crafty chef named Joe decided to throw together some ground beef, onions, and a squirt or 3 of ketchup or tomato sauce. Not stopping there, he tossed in a spoonful of brown sugar and a splash of Worcestershire sauce to jazz things up. Thanks to its, sloppy presentation, it didn't take long for people to dub it the Sloppy Joe, a name that sticks because honestly, it's just fun to say. These sandwiches are the perfect mix of tangy and sweet and have won over hearts and taste buds across the nation. They're a cinch to whip up in large quantities, making them a party favorite without draining your wallet. Depending on where you're chowing down, you might find some adventurous souls adding bell peppers, garlic, or a dash of chili powder to kick things up a notch. Why were they a staple in school cafeterias? Simple. Kids loved them, and they were bulk cooking friendly. Number 4. Ham and Banana Hollandaise. Ham and Banana Hollandaise is a curious creation from the 1950s. This dish featured thinly sliced ham wrapped around bananas, all smothered in a rich hollandaise sauce and baked. The unusual combination of salty ham with sweet bananas under a creamy sauce initially intrigued those looking to experiment with bold, unconventional flavors. Despite the initial curiosity it sparked, enthusiasm for the dish dwindled as culinary preferences shifted towards simpler and lighter fare. The culinary landscape evolved with a growing distaste for combining heavy, rich sauces with sweet elements in savory dishes. This trend saw Ham and Banana Hollandaise move from a novel main course to a rarely seen dish, as tastes grew to favor more cohesive and traditional flavor pairings. Number 5. Shrimp Wiggle. Shrimp Wiggle brought together shrimp and sweet peas in a comforting white sauce, traditionally served over toast or pasta. This dish was a staple in the Northeast, celebrated for its simplicity and the delightful interplay of seafood sweetness with creamy sauce. However, its appeal began to diminish as newer generations of diners sought out dishes that highlighted seafood in its most natural state, moving away from the heavy, cream-laden preparations of the past. The growing preference for seafood dishes that emphasize the freshness and quality of the ingredients, such as grilled or sautéed preparations, contributed to the decline in popularity of more traditional, sauce-heavy dishes like shrimp wiggle. Number 6. Tuna noodle casserole. Tuna noodle casserole really came into its own when times were tough and wallets were thin. This dish is a simple mix of canned tuna, wiggly egg noodles, creamy mushroom soup, and some peas. To top it off, you add whatever crunchy bits you have on hand, like crushed chips or breadcrumbs. It quickly became a staple during those difficult days, famous for both being budget-friendly and filling. Advertisements praised it as a quick fix. Over time, everyone began to add their own twist to it. In the Midwest, they love throwing in some cheddar cheese, while others might jazz it up with extra veggies like celery or bell peppers. Number 7. Corned beef hash. Corned beef hash became a culinary hero during World War II, as it provided a practical solution for American families stretching their food supplies. Originating from the need to use up leftover ingredients and ration foods, the dish combined chopped canned corned beef, cubed potatoes, and onions into a savory, filling meal that could feed multiple people economically. Its rise to prominence was fueled by its affordability and the ease of preparation, making it a common choice in households where efficiency and frugality were paramount. Corned beef hash was often enjoyed as a main lunch dish, celebrated for its ability to bring comforting warmth and sufficient nourishment to the table, using minimal and accessible ingredients. Number 8. Vienna sausages. Vienna sausages, those little canned wonders, made their mark in the U.S. after originating in Europe. These soft, mildly salty sausages, packed in broth, became popular for their convenience and long shelf life, making them a post-war pantry staple, perfect for quick snacks or adding to stews and casseroles. Their rise in popularity was largely thanks to their ability to sit on a shelf indefinitely, serving as a reliable quick fix during times when food scarcity was a real concern. However, as tastes have evolved and health consciousness has risen, the allure of Vienna sausages has waned, increasing skepticism about canned meats and a preference for fresher, less processed options have caused a major dip in their popularity. Number 9. Liver and onions. Liver and onions might sound like a grandpa's kind of meal, and that's because it is. This dish is a throwback to times when the most nutritious and hearty foods were the stars of the kitchen. It's made from beef liver, often soaked in milk to mellow out its strong flavor, then fried up with onions until the edges of the liver are crispy, but the insides remain tender. This meal was a hit, especially in parts of the U.S. with large meatpacking industries like the Midwest and Northeast, where fresh offal, that's a fancy word for organs like liver, was readily available. Known for being rich in iron, liver and onions was a favorite among older generations who valued its health benefits. The sweet caramelized onions provided a perfect contrast to the earthy liver, creating a flavor combination that really pops. However, as tastes have shifted towards lighter and milder meals, liver and onions have seen a decline in popularity. It's no longer the menu staple it once was, often passed over by diners who favor less intense dishes. Number 10. Rice-A-Roni. Back in 1958, Vince Dino came up with a brilliant idea: rice-a-roni. This tasty side dish combined rice and thin pasta, which were first browned in butter, then simmered in flavorful broth. It quickly became a hit in American kitchens. Rice-A-Roni was known as the San Francisco treat, a perfect match for busy lifestyles in the 1950s. It was super easy to make and came in flavors like chicken, beef, and Spanish. And let's not forget that catchy jingle from the TV ads that got stuck in everyone's head. Though it's not as popular as it once was, thanks to more people choosing healthier meals and lots of quick options, rice-a-roni still stands out as a creative dish from back in the day. It's as easy as ever, just saute, simmer, and it's ready to hit the table. Number 11. Chicken divan. Chicken divan was the kind of dish that makes you feel like you've just been knighted by your taste buds. Back in the 1950s, a fancy restaurant in New York City created this masterpiece, blending tender chicken, crisp broccoli, and a velvety cheese sauce into a casserole fit for a king, or at least a well-fed family. This dish had all the charm of a classic mid-century favorite, easy to make, comforting to eat, and versatile enough to handle any kitchen experiment. Some versions add a splash of curry for a spicy twist, while others throw in crunchy almonds or breadcrumbs on top, adding a bit of crunch to all that creamy goodness. However, as culinary trends moved towards global flavors and lighter fare, the once beloved chicken divan saw a gradual decline in popularity. Number 12. Lobster Newburg. Lobster Newburg is like the Cinderella of seafood dishes, going from zero to hero back in the late 19th century. The story goes that a sea captain named Ben Wenberg concocted this rich, creamy delight and shared this recipe with a restaurant in New York City. After a falling out, the restaurant changed the dish's name from Wenberg to Newburg, but the taste stayed spectacular. This dish has all the drama and indulgence you'd want from a fancy menu item. Tender lobster chunks swimming in a luxuriously creamy sauce with a hint of sherry, served over buttery toast or fluffy rice. It quickly became a hit, especially among the high society set who probably wore top hats and monocles while digging in. Number 13. Deviled ham spread. Deviled ham spread began gracing American tables in the late 19th century. This concoction of finely chopped or ground ham, mixed with spices and mustard, and bound together by mayonnaise, quickly became a favorite for its spicy, savory flavor and convenience. It was ideal for quick sandwiches, pastry fillings, or as a simple dip. Like many convenient food items of its time, deviled ham was celebrated for its long shelf life and versatility, perfect for on-the-go eating and easy meal prep. However, much like others, as dining trends shifted toward more authentic, less processed flavors, the appeal of deviled ham spread began to wane. Number 14. Tomato surprise. Tomato surprise once captured the culinary scene with its clever presentation. In the 1950s and 60s, this dish was all the rage at home parties, where hosts loved to serve tomatoes hollowed out and stuffed with a variety of fillings like tuna, chicken salad, or rice blends, usually served chilled. The key was using tomatoes that were just the right firmness to hold the creamy fillings, creating a delightful contrast with their tangy outer walls. However, as culinary preferences shifted towards dishes that showcased natural flavors without added frills, tomato surprise began to see a decline in popularity. The culinary world started to value ingredient transparency over novelty, leading to a decrease in flavor for dishes like tomato surprise, which relied more on the gimmick of hidden contents than the flavors themselves. Number 15. Beef stroganoff. Originating in 19th century Russia, a chef whipped up this cozy dish for the Stroganoff family, and it's been warming bellies ever since. When it landed in America, it quickly cozied up into hearts, becoming a go-to during the 50s and 60s. It had the perfect mix of feeling both a little fancy and comfortably familiar. The dish is all about those juicy beef strips, bathed in a creamy sour cream sauce, often tossed with mushrooms and onions and served over noodles or rice. It's versatile enough for a laid-back family meal or even a fancier gathering. Though it's not as common as it once was, with many opting for lighter fare these days, beef stroganoff still pops up around the world, tweaked here and there to match local tastes. What famous lunches did we miss? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and join us as we continue to explore more nostalgic bites from the past.